The architect of Lost Echoes Elara stood at the threshold of the house that once felt like a sanctuary, and now loomed like an unruly memory. The maze, as her grandfather Arthur had called it, was his life's work, his last and most perplexing masterpiece. To her, it had always felt alive. Every creak of the floorboards, every beam of light filtering through the stained glass windows told a story that only she and Arthur could truly understand. But now, with the crushing weight of family debt pressing on her shoulders, the house had become a burden of beautiful, haunting reminder of all that had been lost. Her fingers brushed against the cold, splintered doorframe as she stepped inside. The air was thick with dust, the musty scent of old wood and forgotten memories hanging heavily in the stillness. Each corner of the house seemed to mock her, its complexity taunting her with the secrets it still kept. Stairs that ascended into nothingness, rooms where the walls bent inward as though they had minds of their own. Even now, a year after Arthur's sudden disappearance, the house seemed to hold its mysteries like a locked vault. One week, Elara muttered, her voice barely a whisper. The looming sale was only 7 days away, and each passing moment felt like a countdown, a ticking clock, counting down to the final goodbye. Her heart hammered in her chest as the distant sound of a door slamming echoed through the empty halls. A stark reminder that once the deal was done, she would never again set foot in this place. As a renowned architect, Elara had studied the house from every angle. Yet there was one thing that always eluded her: Arthur's final creation, the hidden library. She had never understood why it was sealed behind a wall, nor why it required a series of cranks and pulleys mechanisms that seemed more like a puzzle than a feature of a home. It had haunted her for years, but today, as her fingers traced the delicate carvings on the false wall, she knew that there was no more time for hesitation. With a final turn of the crank, the wall groaned, sliding open with a heavy sigh. Beyond it lay a room frozen in time. The air was stale, the silence almost suffocating. Dust lay untouched on the floor, as if no one had entered for years. There were no notes, no explanation for Arthur's disappearance, just a set of blueprints new, yet unmistakably drawn by his hand. Her heart skipped a beat as she unrolled the plans, studying them with growing dread. What she saw left her breathless. A room that didn't exist on the original blueprints. A room that, despite her endless hours walking through the house, she could not find. "This doesn't make sense," Elara whispered, her voice trembling with frustration. "How could I have missed something this fundamental?" But the room wasn't the only mystery. The very walls around her seemed to watch her, the heavy silence pressing in as the house groaned under its own weight. Time was running out. The buyer's representative, cold, detached, and unfeeling, was already pressing for an inspection report. She had to get it right. If she didn't, they would take the house from her, from the family. Her grandfather had never been a simple man. His eccentricities had been legendary. People whispered about his obsession with creating the perfect space, the perfect home. But Elara knew that his obsession ran deeper than that. The maze wasn't just a house, it was his fractured mind, laid bare. As the hours turned into days, Elara searched the house with relentless determination. She traced the blueprints, ran her hands over every wall, every hidden compartment. The house seemed to shift around her, as if guiding her in endless circles. But the answer wasn't in the blueprints. It was in a forgotten memory, one buried deep in her mind. She was a child then, no more than 10 years old, sitting beside Arthur in the old kitchen, her legs dangling from the stool. He was tinkering with a clockwork mechanism, as he often did, and she watched him in awe, fascinated by the way his hands moved with such delicate precision. "Do you hear that?" he had asked, his voice soft but urgent. She had listened, but there was only the hum of the house. "It's the sound of time," he had said with a smile. "Time, my dear, is both a path and a puzzle. just like this house. Now, standing in the heart of the house, Elara understood what Arthur had meant. It was the sound, the faint ticking of a clock, echoing from somewhere deep within the house. She followed it, her heart racing, as she traced the faint pulse of time guiding her dot in the very core of the house amidst its labyrinthine design. Elara found it, a small, inconspicuous door, almost hidden in the shadows. With trembling hands, she pushed it open, the weight of the house pressing down on her with every step. Inside, she found the room her grandfather had kept hidden for so long. And it wasn't empty dot. At the center of the room stood a solitary desk, elegant yet worn, covered in papers. Each one was carefully folded, sealed with a ribbon, waiting for her. Elara hesitated, her fingers trembling as she opened the first letter. The words were familiar, written in Arthur's distinct hand. Elara, my dear, if you found this room, then you have unlocked the final secret I've left behind. I have hidden myself here, not because I wanted to disappear, but because I needed to understand my own mind. This house, this maze, was never meant to be a puzzle for you. It was meant to be a reflection of my thoughts, my desires, my mistakes. I've left you the key, not to the house, but to my own heart. Elara's breath caught in her throat. The letters continued, each one revealing a fragment of Arthur's fractured mind, the madness that had driven him to create a house so illogical, so impossible. But there was something else, something deeper. I love you, Elara, and I hope you understand that. I never wanted to burden you with the weight of my secrets. But now, as I've locked myself away in this room, I can only hope that you find peace in knowing that you were always my greatest creation. The maze was never for anyone but us. I'll leave it to you now. The house and the memories are yours. As for me, I am not lost. I have simply found the silence I needed. The letter slipped from her hands, and Elara's mind raced as the weight of Arthur's words settled over her. She looked around the room one last time, her eyes scanning the dusty corners and the intricate details of the house that had consumed him. But Arthur was gone. Not physically, but emotionally. His love for her, for the family, had never wavered. It had simply become tangled in the walls of the maze, a puzzle he had never finished. Elara closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the house lift from her shoulders. The maze was no longer a place of torment, it was a place of understanding. A place of healing dot as the sun dipped below the horizon. Casting a soft golden glow over the house, Elara knew it was time to let go. The house would be sold, but the memories, the love, and the mystery of Arthur's disappearance would remain. And perhaps, in time, she would find her own way out of the maze.